Now this is what a cigar should look like. What a magnificent piece of art. I mean, the bands, we've got 3 of them. One of them's got a signature on them. I don't know whose signature it is. I don't even care. It just makes it feel more special. It's 6 inches long, 50 ring gauge, beautiful presentation. The color, the texture. This thing is almost, I say almost, this thing is almost as gorgeous as Omar now that he's covered his face with that beard. Now, don't tell him I said that. It'll go to his head, okay? But, I mean, all I'm saying is the more of his face that he covers, the better he looks. And this, well, this is comparable. I think this is very, very comparable. You know, I just appreciate when a brand goes to that extra effort. Now, this is a special cigar, even within the world of Montecristo. This is a very, very special cigar. This is very much a limited edition. Espada means sword in Spanish. This is made up of tobacco that was harvested in 2008 for the 3 different fillers, in 2009 for the binder, and 2010 for the wrap. The youngest tobacco in this cigar is 12 years old, which means that they're almost old enough for Leonardo DiCaprio to dump because they're too old. This is just a magnificent stick, and everything about it I just absolutely love. But obviously, the proof is in the smoking. So we're going to find out very soon. It's rated very well. Reviewers have loved it. Let's find out for ourselves whether we like it too. Now, speaking of finding out whether we like things, you know, something that we have established well and truly that we don't particularly like is hay fever, which is going to kick my ass tonight. But it's also the man who, you know, he was just off making a cup of tea, and he's going to have to go back and watch the replay of the start of the show to find out what I just said about him and his face, because I'm not going to tell him. But here he is, none other than Omar. How are you?
I'm good, man. What's happening, bro?
Doing all right, doing all right. It's you know, it's a funny thing. It'd probably be worth you going back and actually watching the replay just to find out what I said. You know, you know, I don't want to lead you up the garden path, mate. But I might have said something quite unexpected about your face. So, Aubrey, you're absolutely right. This does look like it's going to be a magnificent stick. V-cut, I'm actually going to go with a straight cut. I went and got myself, because I was just up in Sydney. So I caught up with with Damo. Omar, I avoided you, obviously. But I got myself one of these just magnificent little gift pack things. Picked it up from Omar. So now I've got this. This is just like the smoothest cutter. It's just so effortless and so heavy at the same time. This thing here is a freaking blowtorch. I've got it turned way down, way down. I mean, it was putting out some serious heat. So just because I've got it, I'm going to use this today, just because it's a little bit new and special, and I'm a little bit excited.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking, obviously, I've been lately doing straight cuts predominantly. So let's just see.
You going V-cut tonight?
Nah, straight.
Straight. Yeah, you're going straight. So Tim is making promises that he has no intention of keeping, saying he's not going to be rude, he's going to be nice. As if, mate, as if. All right. So this, I'm guessing, is probably, this is going to be Daniel, I'm guessing, but for some reason not showing up as Daniel. So this will be my 7th cigar in 8 days. I smoked the Oliva last week, then one on Saturday with Omar and Damien, then another with my brother in Singo on the Saturday night on our way to Canada, on one on Sunday, one on Wednesday, and one on Thursday on my way home, and now this one tonight. I feared I may be turning into Omar, and then I realized that's impossible. I'm taller and better looking. Look, you know, shooting fish in a barrel there. I mean, you're setting yourself a very low standard to have to come over the top of, but still, I do agree. I am, but I promise to be nice, damn it. Yeah, there's a thing called spell check, Tim. I think you might need to turn that on. All right, nice straight cut with the perfect cutter. So the thing with this is that it's got a backstop there, so you can't stick it in too far. Kind of takes the any possible error out of it. This will only be the 2nd ever cigar that I've cut with this thing, and Good draw. Fraction tight. But it's drawing. It's drawing perfectly well. Just with a fraction more resistance than I would like. Take this band off the foot. How many bands did you take off before lighting it up?
3. Because it goes in my cigar journal. So
okay, all right, yeah. So you've just stripped them all off. Yeah. I think I am going to do 2. I'm going to do the foot band. Obviously, you don't want to light it with that on, but I'm going to take the next one off as well, just so I don't have to think about it later on. What are you getting on that light up?
Not yet. I'll let you know in a second. Oh.
Well, you're obliged to like this one, Omar.
Yeah, it's made by Plasencia.
You read my mind. Read my mind.
A lot of Montecristos are made by Plasencia.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence. But this is interesting. I was expecting it to be sweeter, but it's more like a touch sweet spice and bakery. And it's not like the just crunchy bakeries, but more like, those soft cookies. That's very soft cookies. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It's quite interesting just reading reviews on this one. Quite a diverse range of opinions as to what the dominant flavor is, but universal agreement that it is incredibly complex, and there is quite a range of flavors contained in this cigar, and quite a journey in it too.
Definitely. Look, it's definitely complex. And I was just trying to say, from wrapper and what I've heard about the cigar, it's going to be extremely sweet. It's more complex than just sweet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Something is sweet, but it has got complexity on it. So that's very nice so far.
Okay. On the opening, definite sweetness, almost a musky sweetness for me. It's almost sitting in that kind of musk stick.
Musky sweetness, and it has that. Sometimes when you have those soft cookies, not so much butterscotch, but those slightly more of a softer texture, so to speak. Nothing crunchy about it, and it's just creamy and it's soft.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of interesting comments here. Beautiful wrapper, says Aubrey. I think he must be drunk though, because he also said nice beard, Omar. So I don't think he's in his right mind. To be quite honest. No, he's not. He's not okay.
The mo's gonna get better.
Hey?
The mo would get better soon.
You'd hope so. Couldn't get any worse.
It's been 3.5 weeks. You watch what happens. Cigar Man Sam, is he smoking tonight with us?
What are you smoking tonight, Cigar Man Sam? You with us, or have you got your own? It's almost got a very mild molasses and oat cookies, like an Anzac biscuit.
Yeah, I passed that for the Anzac part, but yet it's just a softer texture than the Anzac meant to be crunchy, and this is softer.
But I like my Anzacs soft. Like,
do you?
Yeah. My nana used to make chewy Anzac biscuits.
Ooh, well, that's it then.
She cooked them really slowly, and they didn't become crispy. Like, you'd get maybe the very edges would be crispy, but then in the middle, it wasn't soft and undercooked. It was definitely cooked, but it was chewy. You had to chew your way through it. It was so good. All that sort of the golden syrupy, molassesy kind of flavors, and just, loved it.
Speaking of molasses, it's just very molasses-like.
Yeah.
This is actually very molasses-like. And the other thing, you were saying musk, but I kind of feel like there's a bit of a tang. It's a light, sweet tang. Not much of a profound tang, but still kind of tang.
The musk was only there for me on the very initial light up. It's already faded. And I mean, I'm there, Yeah. It's already faded. So that was just there on that very initial light up. I'm having some issues with my cigars at the moment.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
user
no,
error.
well, this one's only been in my humidor for a couple of days. I just brought it down from Sydney.
Uh,
Oh
I
no,
see.
that's not true. This one's been with me for a little while. Actually, sorry, this is a different one. So I
I
wonder
think,
what's because that's not the first time.
dude, are you? You gotta go maybe touch more 65 sometimes, just in
Well,
case.
thing is, I've got 65 in there, but they're holding around 70 according to my digital hygrometer.
Oh,
So they're not
good.
that dry. They're not that dry.
That is just
Um,
maybe bumped into something, and this particular cigar.
who knows? I mean, Tahilim's got the right idea here. I might have offended it. I might have said something mean, and it's just like, nah.
uh, oh man. Um, just a quick conversation about Demo, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Are you aware what's going on?
No. I was expecting him to show up.
Um, I obviously had a conversation with this missus, and she informed me what happened. He was not well, so a bit unwell. So, and I kind of waited around for him to pick him up from the hospital, but and then I have to pick up my wife and my son two different directions in Sydney, and I thought I'm going to be late. So I asked one of my close mates to stand by, get them to swap numbers, and got him to pick him up, kind of thing. So got that happen, but it's quite a serious thing. Obviously, the hospital involved, but he uses a very specific type of, those new ceramic. Do you know those material that are just not plastic, not rubber? The different, they the chemical composition is so complex they create a third or fourth sort of material substance. So they had this. He had this butt plug that was purchased from a special place. It busted, unfortunately. So look, I'm really sad. It was not supposed to be the case. It just busted.
Well, look, that's actually a relief because the rumor that I'd heard on the grapevine was that his butt implants, the silicon had actually the bag had popped, and that the silicon was actually in his bloodstream. That's obviously just the Chinese whispers on the grapevine. Obviously, the version of the story that I got was not quite right.
So he was in a. He requested personally to take him to this hospital that is run by African Americans to do in-depth checkup on the surface of the butt.
You can't be too careful.
Yeah, you gotta be very careful. So he specifically asked for it, so we took him there. But look, it's just a plug. There's nothing wrong with the tissue structure or anything. So be rest assured that he's in safe hands. But it will get better sooner.
I'm sure he's in many safe hands. Cool. Well, I look forward to seeing him, and he can explain himself next time. He's
listening. He would be listening, but he's not well, dude. He's all right now. He's all right now. He couldn't. He said when he got a doctor's certificate to prove that, but he couldn't have made it. There was no way he was going to make it.
Yeah.
He would be. He's a tough cookie.
He's a tough cookie, yeah. So Tim and Stuart have been traveling around with me, and I passed a couple of cigars on to them, and smoking the nub tonight. Good on you, Tim.
Oh, yes. Which one?
It's a 354 Connecticut.
Oh,
they're relatively new cigar smokers, so I gave them just a selection of pretty easy smoking cigars.
Ideal stick. Ideal stick. Look, I'm trying to focus on these notes. I'm trying to write something, but I can't because it is actually very complex. It's changing on me all the time. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. And at this stage, at least, in the first little bit of the first third, it's holding much lighter than what I was expecting. It's an incredibly light. Even the texture of the smoke is not particularly dense. Very, very light smoke, very, very light flavor profile. That even the bakery spices have died right down. There's not even the bakery spices there for me now. It really is a little bit of baked goods, a little bit of hay, and not a lot else going on for me at the moment.
When you have a cigar, which is quite a dark wrapper, it's interesting because it's meant to age better. But this one, because you're describing it so mild, but it still have some profile in it. It's
Yeah.
not like bland mild. It's got
Yeah,
a
yeah. It's not a Connecticut that's aged out or anything
no,
like that.
yeah, that's right.
But let's not forget, there's a minimum of 12 years of age on the
Wow,
youngest tobacco in this cigar. 2010, it was harvested,
that
um,
is
and
incredible.
that's where the lightness comes from, despite
Yes,
being Habano seed,
yeah,
Nicaraguan grown.
yeah,
The lightness comes from that age.
on beige, yeah, incredible.
Mm. So in the aftertaste, there is still just that slight twist, and I can see what you meant earlier about that slight sort of tang. It's only present in the very distant aftertaste.
Mm,
It's not
mm,
noticeable in the actual texture of the smoke
mm,
itself, but after exhaling, you leave it for 20 seconds, and you do. There is just this slight twist on the end. It's funny though, because I'm also finding hints of sweetness in that. That molasses
yeah,
is mostly gone, but there is still that hint of it on the end at the same time as that little twist.
yeah, and just you just actually just said it. What I was thinking of saying, exactly. It's the sweetness is overpowering the tang, and that's a leftover taste in your mouth after you finish with the
Mm.
smoke, and it's very pleasant. It is
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. It's really interesting. It's like it's not presenting its complexity to you up front. The
Mm, mm.
complexity unfolds after each puff over a period of about 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Wow, the age has made it so mellow.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
and even the foot smoke is pleasant right now. Oh,
If anything, I'd be sitting here going, uh, I wouldn't want it to age anymore. I mean, if I had a box of these, I'd be thinking now's the time to be smoking them.
look, obviously, you gotta think about somewhat. What if more? We don't know, really.
Sure.
But considering that's got some serious type of filler, and it's traditionally a dark sun grown habanos.
Habano seed sun-grown tobacco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I won't see it going bad as per. I don't. It's just
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
It is. It is. It's a delightful cigar. Which is so good. Even just to look at the veins in the wrapper, texture, a tiny little bit of tooth, not much, but a little bit of tooth there.
Dude, seriously, I gotta ask this question to all our viewers. All our viewers. No offense to anyone, with all due respect, why the fuck would you want to have a Cuban cigar in your humidor? Why the fuck? Unless of course it's a white Churchill, or it's one of the aged older, those limitada
Mm.
RJs. Yes, wow, it gives
A
me
genuine Cohiba Bahiki, I would defend. You
yeah.
know,
Look,
that's
with the Hiki, it's just no variation. It's an
oh
extremely
sure,
yeah.
sure, but it's something that you can't. I haven't found that flavor profile in a non-Cuban.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
if you want that, you've got to get that.
You got a Bahiki, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Still, this is incredible.
it's a magnificent stick. So David Leinhelm has ridden to my rescue to defend my honor. He's also had his wrapper split, and this is something that I have noticed with aged cigars,
Gotta
and
be safe.
I had some issues with the Rocky Patel 1979.
Yes,
I
yes.
I had the
Same.
wrappers on those splitting not often, but more often than I do on other cigars, and
You
it
really
is
have to baby them.
yeah, it's just one of the risks with aging cigars for a substantial amount of time. Is that wrapper just does slowly become more and more fragile. And as soon as the expansion, you can see there's a bit of a swelling there. So there might be
Yes,
some
yes,
stem or
yes,
something in that part of the stick. For whatever
yes.
reason, once the heat was introduced, that part of the stick just swelled up and it
Yeah,
split the wrapper. And it's just one of those
yeah,
things that it just
totally,
happens.
totally.
But yes, back to the Cubans. I tend to agree. And this was a real sort of journey for me, of course, when I started smoking, goodness, when was it? 15, 16 years ago now, if I really stop and think about it, when I started to have cigars on something resembling a regular basis. The Cubans were very much the holy grail. It was like, oh no, you haven't smoked a real cigar, you smoked a non-Cuban. And now it's just like, no, this whole other world has opened up to me. And look, the only time I would potentially, I was in Melbourne, in the city at the Nigel Farage live talk on, was it Monday of last week or something? I can't remember exactly, but something like that. And I had a chat with Nigel. He loves his cigars, and he agreed to head out with me afterwards. So I've interviewed him before. So we were talking. He agreed to come out to Ocean 12 with me afterwards and have a cigar. Now, Ocean 12 don't do BYO anymore. You have to buy one of their cigars. And so in that situation, I was thinking, yep, going to just go there, probably just get a pair of wide Churchills, right? One for him, one for me. Perfect. Unfortunately, unbeknownst to him, the producers of his talking series had organized for him to get some work done on his back. He'd tweaked his back somehow and was in some discomfort. And so they found some late night therapy person, whatever, who was going to do a session on his back. And unfortunately, they whisked him away, and I never got to actually take him to Ocean 12 for that cigar, which was a bit of a bummer, because I was like, I could be just about to sit down and have a cigar with Nigel Farage, one of the most interesting people, I think, in the world. Love him or hate him, he's interesting. And I missed out, unfortunately. But in that context, it's kind of like, yeah, I'll grab a pair of Cuban cigars, right? Because I have to buy one of their cigars, and so I'll pick one of the Cubans. But in terms of putting into my own humidor to keep at home, something like this.
Yeah, like, absolutely.
Seriously.
And you just brought me to a really good point. Some of the really old Gurkhas, 1979, they have a serious problem with the wrappers, with the really old cigars. You got
because I'm notorious for it.
Yeah, you got to baby them. You literally got to put them in one place and just treat them like a newborn baby, and that's where they thrive, actually. And Cohibas are the same. Behikis are the same. The wrappers, they're exactly the same.
Yeah, right. I haven't had any issues with them myself, but however, even with the split, I mean, I cannot fault the flavor profile. It's just deepened a little bit for me now.
Yeah,
it's no longer that super light, noticeably light. A bit of depth has come in, entry of a little bit of earth tone, a little bit of mulch to me, which has carried with it a slight increase in that tang.
The earth tones you're talking about, it for me, it's like more like a hardwood cedar type / timbery, light, musky tang.
Hardwood, with cedary, timbery, light, hardwood, the musky tang. Okay.
Look,
yeah.
If you have a hardwood, the smell of the hardwood is much closer to an earth smell than a lighter, light wood stuff, right? So it's obviously has a cedary smell to it, but also with something with more depth wise, and it's still sweet and it's still tangy.
Yeah. So Tim, I don't drink Japanese whiskey anymore, largely because I generally find it just doesn't go with cigars. It's too light and often too floral. I mean, obviously there is a range there. There's different Japanese whiskeys for sure.
Yeah.
But I'd find as a body, they are just too light, and I've kind of given up on them in terms of trying to pair them with cigars. Sorry. There'd be some people here who, like probably Cigar Man Sam, maybe a couple of others, might have a few specific Japanese whiskeys that might go really well with cigars, but I gave up before I found any.
It has gone up a notch in terms of its depth. You got more bolder, touch bolder, not by much, but touch bolder.
Still very light smoke production. And I'm getting a little bit of resistance in the draw. So I do wonder if there's some decent stem in there. There's something going on that's caused this split and is potentially just keeping my smoke production a little bit low. But the flavor profile, I cannot fault. Cannot fault.
Definitely not as big a production of smoke that we get some of the darker wrappers, but nonetheless, my draw is perfect. It's a drawing is perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
So Simon has some feedback on the Japanese whiskey. I had a really light Japanese whiskey with the firecracker last December, and it was okay. Okay, there
Nice.
you go. Was that the Perdomo firecracker, or was that the sort of the standard firecracker? I think because we had the standard firecracker around about then in our pack. I think
We did. We did.
Yeah, so that's probably. I'm guessing it's probably the standard one.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. If you happen to remember which one specifically it was, Simon, I'd be curious. I've had. No, I've thrown the bottles out. I did have a collection of Japanese whiskey bottles because I was working my way through them, and to drink on their own. Oh, it was the Perdomo one. Okay, so he's just clarified it was the Perdomo firecracker. I worked my way through a bunch of different Japanese whiskeys, and to drink on their own, to have a sip after dinner or something like that, fine, no worries. No issues there. But the minute you brought in the texture of a cigar, the dryness of the cigar, etc., I just found it didn't do good things with the Japanese whiskey profile. Didn't like it.
Topher, do you think it's burning a bit quick? Actually, no. We are half an hour through it. That's not bad.
Yeah, well, 20 minutes. I mean, it's not bad for 20 plus minutes.
Yeah.
I could probably smoke it slower, to be honest.
Yeah.
But also just with the split and with the burn leaning towards the split, I've been keeping it a little bit warmer just so to avoid the burn getting too uneven. So, so Simon's saying that his burn is really straight, probably because he doesn't have the split. And if mine was straight, I'd be smoking it slower than what I am now. I'm just a bit worried about what it's going to do. I've got actually it's almost like a tear further down the cigar, which is not ideal. But anyway, I don't think it's letting any air in.
You wanted to maybe use a little bit of glue just to...
Yeah, I actually don't know where my glue is, to be honest. I've been traveling so much. I've been in and out and up and down and traveling so much that I've actually lost track of a few of my bits and bobs.
Understandable, dude. Yeah, actually, just use that.
Yeah, that's, I don't know where it is.
Yeah, here, use that.
Ah, okay, thanks.
No problem, sir. Anytime, just here to help.
Yeah, appreciate it.
No problems.
So Daniel's drinking Conor McGregor's proper number 12 triple distilled Irish whiskey tonight. It's really good and pairs well. I've experimented with a few Irish, and my absolute favorite is the Teeling Stout cask. It's almost like it's fizzy. It's got this slight effervescence to it. It's really, really kind of weird and interesting, and I really like it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm being urged by Simon, and he's right. I'm being urged by Simon to touch it up now, because then it'll be dry by the time I'm burning it. All right, Omar, can I trust you to leave you in charge of the show for a minute? Or is that just too much responsibility? Hey?
It will turn out to be a lot better for a moment if you want to do that. You like that, huh?
People are just going to keep coming back and rewatching that 2 minutes while I was gone and just be like, oh, it was so good. All right, well, I think I know where my glue is. I'm just going to have to go out to the other room. I'll be back in a sec.
All right. Since Topher have fucked off, we can take the show to a whole lot better place. Since Tim has jumped in a couple of times, Daniel, Stewart, where you guys think where the notes are? Have you guys reached the second, third yet, or you guys are just on the first? Tim, he's probably going to have no more followers soon. Not that he have any real followers.
I'm amazed that people are still watching. You must have behaved yourself.
So Daniel is up to the second third. Do you see any changes, Daniel? Do you feel that it has more complexity or just almost the same? You got it.
Yeah, I remembered that I got a new one with pack 8. This was the gift.
Yeah.
In pack 8. So I just went and got that one. So this is a brand new one. Just if I just do this for a while, will people keep coming back to watch this part of the show? Just on repeat. Yeah, it stayed perfectly lit.
Just a half, right?
Just a half. Not a lot of smoke production. You do look like you're getting a thicker, more velvety kind of smoke. And given that yours is also burning a little bit faster, that does tend to reinforce my suspicion that I've got a slight blockage in this one.
Most certainly. And I'm really enjoying that. The burn is perfect, but most importantly, the draw is. I love when it's not super open and not super. It's just right. It's just right. It's just perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's sitting in a beautiful place. So Stuart said that he was waiting for the glue to spurt out. It's okay, Stuart. I'll put it on my face in a minute. Cigar Man Sam giving me some really good technical advice here. Just wet the crack and you'll be fine. I'll make sure I follow that advice. Thank you, Cigar Man Sam. Tim is being trivial and talking about cigars. Like, seriously, dude, you'd think this was a cigar show or something. I like the nub. I'm cigar illiterate, so I don't know how to describe it, but I like it. Well, I'm glad you do, buddy. I'm glad you do.
They're good cigars.
They are. So Daniel's saying the tang has picked up a tad, almost a citrus note, not a lime, probably more a grapefruit-like tang. Well, yeah, I've got to say, yeah, and there are reviewers out there that would be very much in agreement with both the tang and the grapefruit specifically. So you're in good company based on the reviews that I was reading. All right.
Yeah, I copy that. Well, there's grapefruit or mandarin, like it's in between somewhere, depending on the meal that you had prior and what you drink, and also
the drink that you're pairing it with. Yeah.
But definitely, most certainly, it's oh yeah, good job.
That's there's a bit more there at the top that I didn't spot.
And by the time
I broke the ash. Dope.
Not again, dude.
I'm so careful. That was the money shot, and you missed it.
Yeah. Uh-oh, poor baby.
Yeah. All right. So that'll slowly dry out, and that'll create quite a good seal.
It will dry out. Yeah. You don't want it to fix the draw if there's a stem or anything, or are you good?
I'm afraid if I go in with the perfect draw, if the wrapper is really that fragile, there's a risk that extra bit of thickness from the perfect draw is all it's going to take to then cause a split somewhere else. So, look, it's smokable. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. I'm more just reflecting on the fact that it could actually be even better. It's an absolute ripper stick.
Well, you got to have one more.
All right, so we're heading towards the second third now. I'm going to crack open my drink, which is a little unorthodox for me, but I've been experimenting lately with my dark beers. And I know. Dark ales, stouts, porters, all that sort of stuff. And I was thinking about it, what I was going to have. And I don't have a whiskey that's really ideally suited. I've got the Dimple 15. That's about all I've got ready to go that could match. Everything else is just not in the right space. But I thought, you know what? Some dark ale with this cigar, I'm going to take the risk. We'll find out. And I've got the Dimple right there just in case.
Just in case. Cigar Man Sam said something very interesting. What do you think? Like it?
When the cigar is problematic.
Yeah.
Does he have the same trait with women?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why we call him Cigar Man Sam.
Right.
Things I can't say on air. But yeah. Well, go back to your drink. What do you think? What's the verdict?
I actually think the pairing is good.
Mm.
I actually think the pairing is very, very good. So Simon's not a fan of the White Rabbit. Okay, but have you had the White Rabbit dark ale? Because I can't drink anything else of theirs. I've tried them all. I can't drink anything else from them. But the dark ale, I actually quite like. Yes, it is a White Rabbit. Mainly because what I wanted was the Moo Brew, and it was only available in cans, not bottles. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna drink out of a can tonight. I'm not gonna decant it into a glass. So I went with the White Rabbit instead.
Yeah.
Tim says, I'm detecting what I assume you would call a nutty flavor. It has a somewhat sweet aftertaste. Okay. That's from the Nub 354 Connecticut.
I still have this cedary or hardwood in between note.
Mm.
That's predominantly that's what you have now. It's a tang. It's touch woody. I just call it touch woody, sweet.
So
Still
Daniel, I agree. A Hennessy cognac would go well right after I've driven home from the golf club in my Bentley, and taken off my Versace suit. I'll just go to the liquor cabinet and pull out the Hennessy cognac. We're not all made of money, Daniel.
Nah, clearly not. Dude.
Yeah, well, that glue is almost dry. And even though the crack hasn't closed up, it is now basically sealed with this layer of this sort of gum stuff that they've got. So it shouldn't have any airflow issues. And then when the burn does get to that part of the cigar, it's amazing. It's like it's not even there. It just burns exactly the way that it should.
Very interesting point. So one of the top Plancisia stick is Alma Fuente.
Right.
So Alma Fuente has minimum 12-year-olds tobacco in it too. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, there's a little somewhat correlationship or things that are very similar between those two cigars. I think the tang bit is not so much prevalent in the Plancisia. And I think it's more of a very thick, like very bold, extremely bold cigar. I mean, someone who likes the flathead, I think it will be right. It'll be your kind of cigar. But if you take the huge boldness out, it's a man cigar. When you have it, you're going to have a cigar.
Yeah.
If you cut the edge off that, this is it.
Yeah. Okay.
This is it. Yeah. If you take that edge off it.
I've noticed a step up in smoke production. So I think perhaps I'm getting past whatever that blockage was. I'm now past where it had split. I've gotten through that. Yeah. So I think hopefully it's going to come into its own and really give me its best, at least for the next little while. Tim, you're a man who likes to live dangerously. And Daniel, I think, is probably on the money here.
Oh, man.
My best mate brought me a nice Alma Fuente natural hexagon a few weeks ago. I'll keep that one for a special occasion. Oh, wow.
Dude,
that is the best.
Yeah. The hexagon is the best in Alma Fuente. I mean, I prefer the Solomona, but I know hexagon is another level as well. Wow.
Yeah, that smoke production's kicked up. I found a couple of rings.
Yeah.
Flavor profile's really coming on point. It definitely had an issue, and I've definitely got past it. And boy, it's coming good.
It's coming good.
Yeah.
It was always a good cigar, Topher. It was from the get-go.
I know it was always good, but it's just gone up another notch. Flavor, the overall flavor profile has just gotten a bit heavier. I'm going to say a hint of leather, but I've never been good at picking leather. But I'm going to say that's what it is. Little bit of earth tone, but yeah, definitely some. Well, I think it's some leather coming in.
Funny you say that. I completely agree with the leather. I think it's very mild at the moment. I think it's still woodiness to it. But look at this bad boy right there. Just a light, just a light. Just nothing crazy, but just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd say, I in my opinion, if you've got these in your humidor, smoke them in the next 12 months. Don't.
Yeah. And baby them
don't
as well.
too much older. Yeah.
Don't
maybe
throw
even
them
sooner.
out. Don't throw them out.
No, just send them to me. I'll dispose of them for you.
Easily. If you can't, let me know.
I find the Toros that are in this weight category burn really fast through the first third, but then when you get to the halfway mark, they really slow down and get dense. Well, look, we're 35 minutes of actual burn time in.
Yeah.
It hasn't been slow, but I don't think it's been remarkably quick. I mean, obviously, I've got that amount of ash there, and then I've got, if I can pick it up here, I've got that. All right.
Oh,
I mean, that's not huge.
No.
In 35 minutes, it's not outrageous. But yes, if it does slow down even further from here, I'd be a very happy man. Quite happy to sit with this flavor profile for as long as it'll last.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Tim, what you're saying is that I shouldn't have got you that hotel room when you were helping me out up in Sydney. I should have just let you sleep in the back of the car. You're used to it.
Yeah, he's probably is.
Yeah. That's why that's why he's got a Suburban. He can sleep in the back
easily. Oh wow. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Leather. It's just kicked in some leather.
The aroma still has that hint of cedar. It's kind of one step behind the flavor profile. The flavor profile's changed and deepened, but the aroma is still in that sort of first third. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good pairing. A dark ale with a cigar.
You're liking it, huh?
I am. I'm trying to reduce the sheer volume of alcohol that I drink after having drunk a lot of it during 2021 and the first half of 2022. Just trying to cut back, and beers, it's a bit harder to get through sort of 20 standard drinks worth of beer than it is to get through 20 standard drinks worth of whiskey in a sitting. So,
That's true. Problems, huh? First world problems.
Oh. You know that scene from Wolf of Wall Street where he takes the what was the drug called? The loop, I can't remember what they called them, but he takes one, doesn't kick in, and then he takes another one, and then they all kick in, and then he has to drive the car. And he passes out in the morning thinking that he's just got the car home in perfect condition, didn't hit anything, blah, blah, blah. He gets woken up by the cops in the morning and the car's just trashed. He's hit everything on his way home. Yeah. That's me if I don't moderate myself on a night.
You have to, man. You go out, you got a bunch of kids now?
Oh, no, that's right. That's right. As a coping mechanism, it served its purpose and arguably had a place for a time in my life there, but it's not a habit that I want to carry with me going forward. So,
not the best habit.
Not the best habit, no.
You got a better habit, cigar.
Definitely. Although, you know what I really want right now is a little tiny corner piece of Damo's 100% chocolate.
Yeah, it would go perfect. It would
Dark
go
ale, this
perfect.
cigar, that chocolate.
Ooh.
Sadly, again, self-control issues. I don't have any of it left.
Well, you didn't have much, so you can't.
That's true. That's true.
I think Dane was saying he's going to run another batch.
It's honestly, it's got to be there. Like you need your cutter, your lighter, your perfect draw, your perfect repair, and your Damo's 100% chocolate. Like it's just got to be in your kit.
You know, the other day, what I was thinking, apart from that chocolate, that's that little tiny pieces of that jerky, man. Oh, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's something else. Something
So
else.
that's another business that has been bashing its head against the brick wall of regulation and all the rest of it.
Stupidity. Red tape, stupidity.
Hey?
Red tape and stupidity combined together.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And depriving us of some absolutely top shelf beef jerky. That was good.
Put a warning on it. Eat at your own risk. Whatever.
Yeah.
What happened?
Like he's spent the money. He's got this full stainless steel kitchen where he does it all. He's done everything right. He just can't get him to sign a damn piece of paper.
That's like stupid. Stupid. That's absolutely stupidity. Man, smoke production is just gone up another notch on this thing.
Yeah. I'm getting quite a lot of smoke just coming off the foot now.
Yeah.
Just sort of billowing off the foot constantly.
Yeah.
I'd say the burn rate has continued pretty fast.
It is fast.
Like not outrageously, like I said before, but it's
a quicker burn.
It's a quicker burning cigar, yeah. Which is interesting because it doesn't seem like a light pack.
Yeah.
Mine, if anything, the pack was slightly too dense. And the ash is holding really well. The only reason it came off is because I bumped it and you saw me pick it up. Like it's a really good, dense pack of ash. So, yeah. Anyway, fast burn.
Fast burn. For sure.
Yeah, Damo does have some available. The 100% chocolate.
Yeah.
$15 for a block, and you need so little of it. Like it would take you a long time, or it should, if you have self-control, take you a long time to get through an entire block. Yeah, Daniel is correct. Warning labels for stupid people. If it wasn't for stupid people, we wouldn't need warning labels. I always shake my head. I get in the car, I turn the car on, and before I can do anything with the screen in the middle, I have to tap this OK button to accept a message. And the message from the car is, remember to obey the road rules, right, and drive safely. I'm like, that warning has changed the behavior of precisely 0 people in all of history. Like, I was just about to go to the freeway and just drive at 200 kilometers an hour. But now that I've had to agree to that message, well, I guess I can't do that anymore. I just, ugh. Simon reckons he's going to have to crack out a nasty fritas for breakfast tomorrow if I finish this stick tonight. Hey, there's no bad time for a nasty fritas. That is for sure.
What do you sit in those flavors now?
There is definitely the tang is slowly just becoming more pronounced for me. I think it's headed more towards the rind, or even towards a marmalade tang. It's not a fresh. It's not a fresh. There's no celery. There's no fresh crispness in it. This is a marmalade or a not an orange rind. Maybe like a mandarin peel or something in that sort of range.
Topher, what I'm noticing about this cigar is whatever you said at the beginning, it's kind of true. It has so much complexity on it. I think, to me, it's the right now tang. It's somewhat mixed with dark coffee beans and maybe dark cacao or leather. So it's got a whole lot of different things going on.
I wasn't sure if that was just because I'd cracked open the beer, but there is definitely. So I didn't say anything because I just assumed it was the pairing with the beer that did it. But there's definitely a coffee chocolate dark roasty bean. Yeah, absolutely 100%. There is
100%. And then it's got still a tang to it too. It's got a bit of leather and cedar too.
The leather's definitely there now. Early on, I was like, oh, I'm not sure if it's leather. I think it's leather, but I'm not now. It's like, no, there's definitely leather there.
Certainly leather. It's got a whole lot of notes that come and go, and you go, what the heck? It's this and that. It's got a whole lot of complexity in it. Very complex.
Here's a good question from David. I was expecting this to be comparable to the Montecristo White, which I love, but it's actually quite different. Still mild, but much stronger flavors overall. I'd agree with that.
Yes.
How do you compare them?
Very different.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I hadn't thought about it. Obviously, they're both Montecristos. They're both non-Cuban Montecristos.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I think the depth of this complexity is far greater than the White series.
I like the flavor profile in the White, but there's not a lot of progression. And it doesn't keep you guessing. You're not seeking out, oh, what's that flavor? Whereas this is very much one of those cigars where you're chasing flavors all the way through.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not much correlationship.
No, there's not a lot of similarity. I really like the Monty White, but if I had this and that side by side in the humidor, I'd be reaching for this one every time.
Any day. 100%. I love Montecristo.
Yeah.
It's a different type of cigar. But this is another level. This is a whole lot different level.
I say that as someone who really rates the Monty White, but I'd be reaching for this every single time.
Monty White is one of my favorite Connecticut's. I would say this. It's one of my favorite Connecticut's.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a couple of Perdomos. I mean, the barrel aged bourbon barrel is quite good, but Montecristo is a great Connecticut. But it's not aged for 12 years. You can't age that pepper for 12 years.
Yeah.
This is a whole lot of different story.
No. There's actually a warning label that was on a Swedish chainsaw that said, "Do not attempt to stop chain with hands or genitals."
Oh, it's just...
You'd only do it once, right? Right? You wouldn't do it a second time. And maybe that person not procreating isn't such a bad thing. I'm just saying. I loved, there was a photo that circulated on the internet a while back. That was a set of knives that had the warning, "Keep out of children."
I think it's just a lot of that happened in America where there were too many lawsuits. You have to do this. You have to. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, what else you have to do?
Use a bit of common sense.
Yeah.
If you can't, then you'll just live your life as a warning to everybody else.
That's right.
Yeah. What happened to his arm, Daddy? Oh, he tried to stop the chainsaw.
Mm-hmm. I bet you anything. No one will do it again.
Oh, dear. I'm not getting any nicotine at this point.
Negative.
Which tends to contradict my theory that it was stem that was causing the issue earlier. Something caused an issue, but it may not have been stem.
I think it also age stem would be different than
that's true. Actually, that's a good point. I hadn't factored that in. Yeah, that's a good point.
Fucking 12 years, and it's got a lot of age on cigar.
Yeah. Well, like I said in the intro, I mean that's so old. It's almost old enough that Leonardo DiCaprio would dump them because they're too old.
Yeah.
Can't go out with you.
Yeah, no chance.
This is a really dumb thing, but I love it when you've got. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay. So that vein there that you can just see if I hold it in the right spot with the light, you can see it. And see how you can actually trace it with your eye and see where it was on the ash.
Yeah.
Like I just love when you can almost still see the pattern continuing up onto the ash.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Juvenile, but I love it.
All things about cigars.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see exactly where that vein curved around all the way up to the top of the ash. I've lost my ash once, and I don't know if I still had the other ash, maybe you would have seen it keep going. Love it.
Dude, it's almost taking over from the hammer and sickle Connecticut for me.
This is, for me, no contest, not even close, the cigar of the pack so far.
Yeah, easily.
It's not even a contest.
Yeah.
This is head and shoulders above.
Man,
Richard, good to see you.
Even the complexity in it, it's just like, what the heck? Like, who are you? Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, this is
something else.
I'm going to find out how many of these we've got left, and I might just buy them up for the purpose of smoking them in the next 6 months before they age out.
Good luck.
Yeah. as soon as the show's over, you're going to be in the car, aren't you? Damo, I don't care if you're sick. Get off the couch. I need those cigars before Tofe gets them.
I think within 2 days, I would probably the biggest buyer of Cigar Professor.
You reckon?
Yeah, dude. Some heavy numbers coming through.
Well, I don't know which body parts you're selling now. I thought you'd run out a while ago.
I did. I haven't paid in a while, so I need to pay up. Special favors. Can't tell you. I'm not supposed to tell you.
I don't want to know. Tim, one of the joys of the nubs is that you can smoke them all the way to the end without losing your ash. And they're a very, very rewarding cigar to smoke.
Yeah.
Richard, appreciate it. Much appreciated. Richard is a stalwart of the Australian cigar scene and admins a number of different cigar pages, and he's gone through that whole process where they get shut down and he has to start up another one and blah, blah, blah. He's gone through all of that. And really good bloke to know, and knows his cigars, and is very much a friend of the show. So Richard, good to see you, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Richard. Final third. The final third.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. What are we now? We're 50 minutes in. Just over.
Yeah.
Since that progression that we were talking about earlier, if anything, it's actually lightened up for me again.
It's gone a little bit earthy. But toned down a little bit, but it's earthy. Earth.
I'd say it's a similar flavor profile. I mean, a little bit of earth tone there, a bit of leather. That's still that bit of tang, that marmalade-y kind of tang. But it's just chilled out a little bit.
Yeah.
Just chilled out a little bit. So Daniel's having a slightly contrasting experience. The citrus marmalade tang is picking up, but it's still got that sweetness. Still definitely got a sweetness to it. Definitely got a sweetness. Yes. But what it's doing will depend on where you're up to in the cigar, exactly what's in that specific cigar, when it was rolled, all that sort of stuff. But it's just sitting in a really beautiful place for me right now.
So for interesting, I dropped my ash twice. The first third, the second third, and the final third. Very interesting. Almost on the spot, it lost his ash.
Well, I lost my ash pretty much. No, it wasn't the end of the first third. It was most of the way through the first third, but that was user error. I was just clumsy and I bumped it when I was trying to do the repair. This ash looks like it's holding pretty well. No sign that it wants to jump ship just yet.
Yeah.
But I'm about to get up to the repair. That's about to start burning very, very soon. So we'll keep an eye on that as that goes through.
I've got a little bit of change as soon as I drop the ash. It's just turned a little bit.
Yeah, what are you getting? Because Simon's reporting the exact same thing. Big flavor change with the ash gone for the second time.
Massive. It's actually turned into a whole lot of different cigar now. I think I'm a little bit with Daniel. The tang just bumped up like a whole nother level, and that's musky, floral muskiness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had that muskiness really early on.
Yeah.
It hasn't really jumped out at me since. It was just sort of there at the very, very start. But yeah, maybe losing the ash brings that back.
Cigar Man introduced me to this ritual while smoking a cigar. Only on some cigars, when the foot smoke is pleasant, you basically do a retro in a sense that you hold a cigar and you cover both sides, and you smoke it through partially from your nose as well, just a little. It enhances the flavor profile. I've done that a couple of times on this, and it's, oh my god, it's just pops up another level. Wow. Dude, it is certainly my number one cigar, definitely of this pack. Probably memorable for the whole entire cigar professor. It's up there.
It's up there. It's up there. I'd have to literally go through the list line by line, and think back to the individual cigars. But I would say comfortably top 5.
Yeah, easily.
It's just that good.
The only one my recent memory is the Micorado or Micorado or whatever that was. It was a beautiful smoke.
The Micorida,
yeah.
This is better than the Micorida.
I think the journey easily. Itself,
the
journey part, it just shits on a lot of cigars.
Yeah. So Simon's obviously tried what you were just saying there. Very different flavor coming into the nose as opposed to retro. So that technique is not dissimilar. So I was playing around with pipe smoking a little while ago. I've kind of gone off it now. It is its own thing, and it doesn't appeal to me. But one of the techniques is to actually be drawing into the mouth from the cigar, using your tongue obviously to do that, and then actually breathing in through your nose at the same time. Now, it's really interesting because there isn't smoke coming off the pipe at that time because the airflow has been reversed. The airflow is coming into your mouth. So you're not inhaling smoke through your nose, but you are getting kind of the atmosphere of the pipe. And that can be really interesting as well. And that definitely enhances the flavors there too.
Yeah, this actually enhances mostly if the foot smoke is pleasant. You know, some cigars have really ugly foot smoke, but this is just sits right into that profile.
It's lovely. It's light. I mean, there's quite a lot of it. It really is kind of just smoking like a chimney, which is funny because then when I actually take a draw, there isn't a massive amount of smoke. The smoke production in the mouth isn't huge, but off the foot, it's quite a lot. But I experimented there with actually just breathing in through my nose into my lungs whilst I was taking a draw on the cigar just then. Yeah. And to be honest, I'd need to be in a smaller room, I think, just to contain the aroma a little bit more to really get much of an effect.
Yeah. I'm still getting partially that muskiness.
Yep. Here we go. I'm about to get that flavor change.
And before you do the change, do a little bit of bellow.
Yeah, okay. Just a quick purge.
I do a little bit of bellow, and it just turned into wow.
Okay, I'm going to get rid of the band now that there's no risk of accidentally knocking the ash off while I do it.
It's beautiful.
Instant introduction of a little bit of pepper. I've not had pepper from this cigar until now. Straight away, white pepper on the tip of the tongue. The other flavors remain quite light, but now as I sit with it, that sourness, we talked before, after 20 seconds, the sourness it's that. The delay now is probably 10 seconds and it's much more pronounced.
Yeah.
So pipe smokers describe the room note as pleasant to tolerable, which is funny because that's how cigar smokers describe most pipe smokers.
Dude, what a journey it's taking us. It's a hell lot of a journey.
Well, we're only now tapping into the final third. I mean, this
Mm.
is as long as some nubs.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that the tang has really become a pronounced flavor in a good way. I'm liking it. That little, it just gets that slight reaction from the tongue, that slight tightening of the tongue now, with the
Mm.
combination of the white pepper on the tip of the tongue and then the sourness down the sides of the tongue.
Yeah.
A little
I
bit of a
haven't
response.
ever, but sorry, yeah, go.
The leather has dropped for me.
Uh-huh.
The vegetative note has actually dropped as well.
Mm.
A lot of those mid tones and earth tones, the coffee, the chocolate, all of that's died right away since I lost the ash, and it's really become white pepper and marmalade.
I think about maybe 10 minutes ahead of you, I think about 10 minutes. And this has not much pepper. It's still sweet.
Okay.
It's still got a pronounced tang in it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lingering cacao / coffee bean note that go in and out. It just goes in and out. It's there, it's not there, it's there, it's not there. You're just constantly trying to catch it.
Another small crack in the wrapper that was hidden by one of the bands.
Yep.
So yeah, I think these have got to be smoked, dude. I don't think we can let these sit for too much longer. It's our duty.
Duty. It's called duty of care.
It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. Hey, I'm gonna help you out. Don't worry.
Appreciate it, mate. I knew you'd have my back.
Yeah, for sure.
So Tim's finished up with his nub. You've done pretty well, mate. You were going for the better part of an hour on a nub 354.
Yeah, it's good.
That's good. So you can see here. Sorry, you go.
Oh, you go. You go.
I was just going to say, you can see just the end of where I repaired, and you can see it's just burning straight through that, exactly like it's not even there.
No problem.
That glue stuff's just fantastic.
That means the binder being good inside. The binder has been holding up good.
Yeah, correct. It's done its job.
A friend of mine who's also a subscriber, he smoked this cigar prior to when we had it, and believe it or not, I had one of these cigars before. It was just a thing where you had it while not focusing too much.
Sure.
The 20 people sitting down and it's constantly, it's like a conversation which is very intense.
Yeah.
And the people around me were saying, "Hey, man, that smells really good." I said, yeah, it's a good cigar. A few days later, my mate had it, and he goes, "Dude, do you remember the cigar that you're smoking?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, that was a very good cigar." He's not a seasoned smoker.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. I said, "Oh, we got to come in. We got to come in." And sure enough, I think this cigar is something that you need to enjoy slightly and really pay attention to it.
Yeah. Set aside some time.
Yes.
Yeah. This for me is the perfect. Kids are in bed. It's a nice night.
Reflection, writing.
Sit outside.
thinking.
Leave the phone inside. Leave the computer inside. Yeah.
Yes. That's it. Perfectly said. And there's a difference between when I had it with 20 people and there's an intense conversation. I didn't think of it too much. Ooh, it's giving you rings too.
A little bit.
It has some similarities, a touch co-relationship with, the cigar of the year that we had. It was a prequel.
Yeah, so we had the Pledge prequel. That was the
something to do with the Pledge. Something. I don't know what it is.
Well, the Pledge was, if my memory serves me correctly, the Pledge is a Maduro.
Yeah, it is a Maduro.
No, I've moved the box. I had the box here. Here it is. Yeah, I've got some. Yeah, it was a Maduro, and I think for me, thinking back, the similarity is probably in that sort of marmalade flavor. It's very different to a Cuban tang. It's not a Cuban tang, but it is its own thing. And if my memory serves me correctly, the pledge had a bit of that going on as well.
And the thing with the pledge was, it was just, it was a nice smoke, had a couple of changes coming through, not as complex as this. Not as complex as this.
No, that's true. Very, very nice. I could see why it won Cigar of the Year. But interestingly, that was a cigar that I smoked and went, it needs another year.
Yeah.
Give it another year. Whereas this, I'm smoking and I'm like, this is in its prime. This is exactly when this cigar was supposed to be smoked.
Wow. This is good. This is good.
So just going to catch up a little bit on the comments here. I mentioned the need, Omar, for you and I to take one for the team and smoke all of these before they got too old. And Tim, ever helpful, has jumped in and said, hey, Topher, Stuart and I are always happy to help with any projects you have. Look, Tim, it's really kind, but after everything that you and Stuart have done for me already, I wouldn't want to lay this burden on you. You've given so much. Yeah, Omar he'll step up to the plate for this one. And Simon has noticed your taste in thermoses there, Omar. That's let me just get rid of the comment. There we go. That's I thought that print was like the sole preserve of like 55-year-old divorced women. Like I thought that was and always on tights, right? I thought that's where that lived. Stuart is saying lol to my comment and then says we've drained him, Tim. you've got all the cigars out of me that you're going to get. Now, Tim, this actually sounds interesting. Stuart, Tim says he's found a private cigar lounge for us to use in Alexandra, which is a town hour and a half or so out of Melbourne. I just need to help him tidy it up. That sounds interesting. I'll come and help you tidy. If you can wait till all the cinema showings and stuff are over and my life settles down a little bit, I'll come and help you tidy, and I might even bring a few cigars for us to celebrate with afterwards.
Topher, interestingly, very deep earthy tones. Just then hit me. It just let me know this got a lot of earth coming through. This is like from 20,000 note that change that I had. I don't know what the hell.
Your cigar journal, you're going to have like 4 pages dedicated to this one cigar.
I just wrote very complex. I can't deal with that. I just reflecting on this cigar made me think. This cigar just made me think that there are not many things that you can sit down. I'm going to be sexist here. I'm going to be extremely sexist amongst like-minded men.
Sure. And
you enjoy a cigar with them and just chewing the fat, listening to yarn, which is not stupid, but every man has his own story.
Sure.
And a cigar just brings everyone to that. There's no better way.
Yeah.
There's no better way. It can't be. It's just not possible.
I agree. Well, there's the saying that women talk face to face, men talk shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's always kind of got to be that external activity, whether it's fishing, whether it's just going down to the pub for some drinks. Like we're not going to sit in each other's lounge rooms and have cups of tea and have deep and meaningfuls with each other. That's just not how it works. But if you've got an engine that needs to be worked on, or you've got some, a fishing spot that you want to show, your mate or whatever, that then becomes the excuse, the context within which we can then sit and have the conversations that we all need. Like we all need that in our life. And cigars are just one of those things where it's the closest you can get to that cup of tea. Like you can sit down in a couple of lounge chairs across a coffee table with a lighter and an ashtray and blah, blah, blah on it. And it's socially acceptable, and it's like it's sort of internally acceptable for a man to then open up and have a real conversation.
Absolutely. Had a very interesting conversation with a really famous man's wife in the Shire. Famous enough that that was a lingering ring.
Yeah, that hung around,
Yeah. And then she was like, you got to talk to him. Like, he's a mate of mine. She said, oh, you got to talk to him. Apparently, I'm an old wise man. I'm not old, but anyway.
Yeah, I questioned everything in that sentence, but okay.
But that's okay. I said to her, So what's the problem? She goes, oh, he's spending only one a day home, blah, blah, blah. And I said to her, he spends a day and a half at least at home. He's home by 4 to 5 p.m. He have dinner with you every day. But let me ask you a question. He hasn't got any friends. When was the last time person X went and had a chat with a mate? He hasn't got it. Yeah. If anything is missing at top of the family time, he's a man who has so much going on in his life, but he has no outlet.
Yeah.
And I think that is the key for him. And she was like, quiet. It was a dead silence. I said, do you go out with your friends and have coffee? She goes, yes. I said, a few times a week? She goes, yes. I said, when was the last time person X did that? She goes, never. I said, there you go. Yeah. There's a problem.
Yeah.
And that cigar is it.
It's the context. It gives us the excuse. You say to somebody, even someone who's not a cigar smoker, as long as they're not anti-cigars.
Yeah.
You say to someone, listen, I've got this box of cigars. I reckon you'd love it. I reckon this is a cigar that you would really, really enjoy. Even if they're not a cigar smoker, they're curious. They're interested. And sitting down with someone like you, someone like me, someone like a lot of the people that watch this show, where we can coach someone who's new through smoking a cigar. We can sit down with anybody and have that experience and share that experience. And then the conversation just follows. Yep, Omar talking sense. Anybody can surprise you. No, Stuart, we don't need Tim to bring the tea. Omar does that. Speaking of which, how many cups of cream are in your tea today, Omar?
Just 150 ml standard.
Only 150 mils. Okay, cutting back. Just sort of. You went to Cream Drinkers Anonymous. My name is Omar and I have a problem.
We all have a problem, depending on the type of the problem.
Some of us are collecting the whole set. There's a few comments there that I won't put up on the live stream. Don't want to get myself into trouble. I disagree with them. I'm just not going to put them up.
No good.
So
something
this is
random. Then when I was having,
No, you go.
You go.
Oh,
then when I had a random conversation the other day.
Yeah.
No, you go. Really go.
Just how good this still is. I mean, I'm now halfway through the final third. There's been no turn in that harsh sort of sense. That obviously it changes each time you drop the ash, definitely, but then it settles down again as the ash builds up again. This is still among the best cigars that we've had at the Cigar Professor. Even now, getting towards the nub. I'm not there yet, but getting close to the nub, like far out.
Anyway, it's pretty good. Then when
you were going to share a random thought.
Yeah, and I think from memory, Danny was sitting down as well the other day on last Saturday. And he mentioned that next pack will probably be the last pack, do the 20. And
it may be, yeah.
Yeah, I said probably, maybe not, hopefully not. Let's just say hopefully not. And this cigar just made me think, and I'm thinking that, man, even if there is no pack, I think a monthly herf, a fortnightly herf, and I think it's something that got to happen, man. Ideally on a midweek, and I think
it's just together. Yeah.
And not only that, it just may give you time to recuperate and say, hey, we had a break or not, just be open-minded about it. And just relaunch and redo the packs, maybe small, whatever. But I think a nice herf, fortnight, month, midweek, when people have nothing on.
Yeah,
I think
just a BYO.
Yeah. It will flourish.
I mean, we've still got stock. We've still got,
plenty of
stock sitting there, which as much as I love smoking cigars, there's too much there for me and for Damo. I mean, obviously not too much for you, but that's a different story. So we would still very much, would have that. Damo would continue looking after them. And as people needed to restock, they'd be very, very welcome to. We wouldn't be shutting the page down or anything like that. But just calling a pause at the very least on the packs themselves. The reality is, since a lot of the restrictions eased, Damo's gotten busier, I've gotten busier, and we've had fewer people actually buying the subscription packs, which makes sense because, if you remember right back to the start of this journey, one of the driving factors that made us go, yeah, we're going to do this, was that we knew that men in particular needed something to look forward to every week while they're locked in their house and the business is shit and life is kind of shit. And that was really part of the driving force behind it. So it makes sense that as things have eased and people have gotten busy again on a Friday night, they've got other options, other things to do. Well, the number of subscribers has been dropping over the last sort of 3 packs. So you put all of that together and you kind of go, well, it's just a bit harder to justify the time commitment, the financial commitment involved in constantly importing new sticks and finding new sticks. Like the amount of hours that Damo has poured into this over the last 2 years is phenomenal. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. And that was okay. He was willing, and he was in fact happy to do that when there was nothing else. But he's getting busy again. He's getting more work for his whether it's fireworks or disposal or various things like that. I'm certainly busy again, and it's just a different season has come, and we need to respond accordingly.
Yeah, affirmative. And also, I think it just may not be only issue with Cigar Professor. I think businesses overall, with a lot of changes in economy, and don't forget that has an impact too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'll just give my mate Daniel Andrews a call and see if he can just bring the lockdowns back so we can sell a few more cigars. That'd be great.
Yeah, one more pandemic and it'll be done.
Yeah, we're looking at shifting to a Wednesday night, definitely. Yeah. So that little crack that I had before,
opened up a little bit.
Has definitely opened up. Now it's literally only skin deep. It is only the wrapper. I can see the binder underneath is holding perfectly. Yeah. So it's just the wrapper, the age on it, the slow sort of loss of oils over time.
Yeah.
That's the result.
Oh yeah.
Still gorgeous.
Gorgeous stick.
The pepper that really came on strong when I lost my ash the second time has eased off. It's there, but it's really nice. It just adds this little sharpness to it. Yeah. The leather is back for me. I haven't yet gone back to the coffee beans. We had that phase where there was the coffee, etc., right in the middle of the middle third, and I thought it was possibly the beer at first, but it's there in the stick. I haven't got back to that, but I'm in that phase just before that, where the leather has come in, little bit of earth tone, that marmalade twist is there, and now there's the added little bit of pepper. And the smoke production now is really good.
Really good.
There's texture to it. It's exactly what I would have loved to have had from the outset, but it just took a little while to get there. Really, really lovely smoke production now. So good.
Very good.
Daniel reports a little bit of nicotine. That's to be expected. It's a decent sized cigar. You're gonna get some nicotine.
Negative.
No one asked you, Omar. No one ever asked you about nicotine.
Sorry. It's funny. Daniel popped in. I already had a cigar. I had one with him. Then I had one with Sam. Then I had one with them. It's like he's still going. I'm like, dude, this is an everyday thing.
Yeah, that's just what you call Wednesday.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. What's that? It's just dried out on me. It just literally, that last puff just took the moisture out of my mouth. It's really, really dry all of a sudden.
I think it was coming for a while. It was slowly drying out, but unfortunately it got very dry. I think that's what happened. You feel a lot more.
Yeah.
And a beer would do that as well on top of that.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I've had that open for a little while now, but we're also at a stage now where, Americans, etc., they would have stopped.
No one smokes it. No.
Daniel says, I forgot to pour some of my nicotine juice into Omar's drink while I was there. Just be real careful with your doses, okay? You can do some damage with that. Maybe not to Omar, but to ordinary people.
Yeah, of course.
And already it's gone back to a little bit more what it was before. That one sort of puff really had a different character. It wasn't so much a different flavor, it was a different texture, and it just dried my mouth out. And now all of a sudden it's like that was a one-off hit.
Yeah. It's been happening all the way through. You go, what is that? And then it will change. It's got a light mintiness now, like a very light mintiness.
There's
the freshness that.
You're right. I hadn't picked it. I hadn't noticed it in amongst all the dryness, etc. But actually, that pepper has almost become like a peppermint.
Yeah.
For me, on the tip of the tongue. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah. Even underneath the lips, it's like a light mintiness where you hold a cigar.
Yeah, or like a menthol, that cold menthol feeling, just very slight.
Very slight, yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, you can't miss it. It's actually there. Instead of this turning really harsh, it's turning a little bit minty. It's like perfect way to finish a cigar.
Don't have to brush my teeth afterwards.
Yeah.
I've already got the peppermint fresh breath.
That's it.
Yeah, I might have to get a second opinion on that.
You should.
Yeah, so it's bulging at that point. It's definitely bulged out. And you can see the pressure even on the binder. The binder is holding.
Holding, yeah.
But again, there's same as what happened further up. There was a bulge with the wrapper. The same things happened just here, which is a shame. I was looking forward to smoking the rest of this trouble-free, but now I'm going to have to really keep an eye on it.
Yeah. I'm gone. I was going to hit
there. Well, that was a solid hour and 20 for you. Be a fraction more for me.
Yeah.
But someone earlier in the comments, they commented on sort of the burn going a bit wonky towards the end. And, mine is certainly doing that. Got a little bit of funkiness going on in the burn, and certainly some funkiness going on in the cigar itself. So we'll see how it goes. I might have to put it down sooner rather than later if it doesn't sort of correct itself, because there comes a point where it's just not worth fighting it when you're so close to the end anyway. Excuse me.
Topher, that has a little bit similarity of a D4.
I thought the D4 was one of the ones we didn't really have trouble with.
We had no trouble, but the profile.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Right. Sorry. My head was still in the split wrapper.
Yeah.
I mean, we had issues with a lot of the Cubans.
Yeah.
But the D4 was one that I think went really, really well. But in the profile, now you're testing the memory banks.
If I'm
going to say no comment just because I can't remember it clearly enough.
Out of all Cubans that I've smoked, I think Partagas is most closest to this profile.
Yeah, okay.
Very close to this profile. Very close to this profile, man. I mean, I'm not a fan of Partagas. They're not my favorite Cubans.
Sure.
But this is super close in a better way. In a much better way.
It's getting really interesting now. It's not as pleasant as what it was. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to persevere just to see what it does and explore it. But the marmalade is kicking in a more pronounced way and less balanced. When it's just that little twist, it's really lovely. But as it becomes an actual flavor rather than a twist in the aftertaste, it's not as nice. And that's where it is for me. The sharpness, that little bit of pepper, a little bit of peppermint is still there, but this sort of sour twist, this marmalade rind, citrus rind. It's not orange, but it's a citrus rind.
Yeah.
Is becoming a much more pronounced flavor now,
Pronounced, yeah.
and that may be the burn issues.
The burn issue, yeah.
It may be just where I am in the cigar.
Yeah, I reckon it's more to do with probably the burn and there's a split, and you also had a little glue there as well. So
I'm well past the glue.
mm,
That
big
won't
open.
be it. And the glue shouldn't change the flavor. It's been formulated specifically. Okay, so that pepper is now becoming more of a black pepper. The pepper is darkening. It's moving from the tip of the tongue. It's still on the tip of the tongue, but it's now moving back further onto the soft palate, etc.
Yeah.
Deepening in terms of the pepper profile, flavor profile overall. Marmalade, vegetative. There's still a mid-tone there. It's probably a leather, but we haven't gotten back to those lovely dark tones that we had for a little while there.
Yeah. Look, interestingly, I'm just almost, I can't hold it anymore, but it's very pleasant. It's actually very, very pleasant. I've got a bit of cedar, still the dark cacao, coffee bean, still the tang, and that light mintiness is there. It's dry because of the mintiness.
It's dried out. It is.
Yeah.
It hasn't been as dry as that one puff was, but it's drier than what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking back to early in the cigar, how light, how sweet.
Yeah.
You know, the musk really early on, and then hints of musk sort of throughout. Now, very much that's gone. We're now sitting in peppers, not even spices, not like red spice or anything like that. It's very much a pepper.
Pepper, yeah.
With that marmalade it's drifting between sort of moments of freshness, which is that mintiness, almost as celery at times, you know, almost going full fresh, but sometimes also being really quite mulchy as well. A little bit of cedar, I agree with that, but I'm not getting any of the coffee. I'm not getting any of the cacao at this point. Oh, that smoke is definitely building up. I just got some in the eye. I'm actually going to do a little touch up. So I'm just going to flash that little bit there that seems to have gone out. Yeah. Try and get that to kind of catch up a little bit. Very carefully. Try not to burn the crap out of the whole cigar. But that'll change the flavor profile. When you have a part of the wrap that isn't burning, obviously that means you're not getting the exact flavor profile as it was intended.
Random. That touch up you did, it just triggers something in my brain.
Sure.
I have used many lighters. I have used many lighters. Let me say this. I have gone through many lighters.
Yeah.
100 something more. And I still think Cigar Professor's lighter is probably the most underrated lighter I have ever fucking used. That combination of soft flame and turn it into a target
single jet. Yeah.
Is neck level. It is absolutely neck level, and it lasts. That fucker lasts longer than most of the other lighters I have.
It's a good lighter, but I disagree on that last point. The tank is pretty small, and because the jet is so pencil fine, it's fantastic for you know your Lonsdales, your narrower ring gauge cigars. But on something that's a 50 ring gauge, you're just going to sit there toasting for ages and ages and ages with it. So I find I'm only probably getting maybe 3 cigar lights out of it before I have to refill the tank. So I like it.
Lighter, small lighter. That's with any small lighter.
No, that's right. Any small lighter, but something like this. So I invested in these lovely Perdomo ones. I mean, it's a chunky lighter, and it's got quite a large tank. So even though it's a triple jet, I haven't refilled it yet. I've literally, I got it, I filled it. I haven't had to refill it yet. I've smoked a decent number of cigars since then. So look, I like the Cigar Professor lighters. We've got more of them. We might actually just include them as a giveaway in the next pack, in addition to what we've already got planned, just because we've got them sitting here and there's no point having them sitting on our shelf. We might as well give them away. They're a good little lighter. They're really good for traveling.
Yeah.
But actually, had a good question here from Simon about butane. So I just use the crap that they sell at all the cigar shops. But I didn't realize, Simon, that there was a difference. So do you use the Swanky pure butane for your lighter? I assumed that this was pure butane.
I would.
Okay. Contains butane mixture. There you go. You learn something new every day.
The biggest thing that I've discovered in the last 4 years of cigar smoking, there is no better substitute than a proper butane, which is 100% butane.
Yeah, right.
And my lighter life, their workability has increased immensely. And the best way to find the best gas, they all come from the same factory in the UK.
Okay.
So whether it's Calibri or it's Zika, I would say 100% pure, and they all made in the same factory in the UK. Look at the back of it, made in UK, boom, you're on.
Yeah,
and
right.
it's
Okay.
spend the extra $5 or $7, but it lasts longer, it works better.
Yeah, right. Well, Simon's giving a vote of confidence to the Calibri Blue can. It's lasted 18 months. There you go.
It lasts a very long time, and it changes your life with your lighters.
Yeah. So this is Simon. I assume you're referring to this lighter here. And yeah, it's good. You get a lot of cigars out of it.
Just one correction, Simon. It lasts about 2 months maxed for me. And I have 3 at the same time. One at home, one in the car, one at work.
Okay, so I've definitely smoked it past its best. They're rare, but we've had some cigars that right down to the finger burning stage, they're just as good. Right, this isn't one of those, in my opinion.
Mine
it's
is
still good. You reckon?
Yeah, I don't want to let it go.
Okay, it's still good, but I think that middle third, when that cacao came in, was magic.
Yeah, it was. Middle third was the best part, but it's still very pleasant for me. It has not changed a bit.
Getting some nicotine now, definitely.
What?
You shut up.
Seriously?
You stay out of this. To all the normal people out there, there's a bit of nicotine in this once you get down towards the nub.
Yeah,
still
for
resting. for the inferior beings like me. Well, I'll be really curious to see if anything in this pack can unseat this one as the cigar of the pack.
Well, there is only one contender, the last cigar. Ooh. Family Reserva 64, I think, or 65.
Yeah, 1964, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just only worried about that, but that is just up there.
It's a good stick. And this has catapulted itself into the number 1 spot.
Yeah, it just It just went with force.
Getting hot now.
Yeah.
Getting hot on the tongue. Yeah. Seems like it's all good. You can see, even in the ash, you can see where that bulge was, just there where my index finger is. You can see where it kind of blew out for reasons unknown. So I've had 2 issues in that sense, but it's smoked its way through both of them pretty well. But I do have to say, I reckon these are at their best now.
Mm-hmm. I can't hold it, actually.
Here he is talking about how he's superhuman, unaffected by nicotine, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, the nub's too hot for my fingers. Oh, no. Make up your mind, mate. Are you superhuman or not? Yeah, that nicotine is definitely kicking in. I'm going to put this down after one more puff. he says to himself, and then doesn't.
Yeah, how's it going?
You've been trying to put yours down for 10 minutes now.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, should I? An hour and 30, an hour and a half. Yeah, Simon's on the same page.
Now, see, Simon, for Omar, it's to remind you of a good cigar that you had last night while you light up the next one in the morning.
Yeah, that's it. That is definitely evening cigar, a chilled
This one,
evening cigar.
Yeah,
Definitely.
you've got to set aside time.
Yeah,
and ideally, you've got to know that you're not going to be interrupted. You're just going to be able to sit and enjoy it, 100%. You would absolutely solve the world's problems if all the world leaders had to sit down and smoke these in the same room together.
One of those, that would be all right.
Yeah.
There won't be any wars. I think the conflicts will be settled. Oh man, I can't hold it anymore. I don't want to let it go.
Yeah, it's getting warm in my fingers. It's certainly getting hot on the tongue. There's definitely heat coming through. Not pepper. I mean, there is pepper, but just actual heat coming through now.
Yeah, that's right.
What a great stick.
I know, dude.
And yet another one that I would never have had were it not for Damo and the Cigar Professor. I would never have had this.
Matter of fact, luckily, I ordered it once and my payment didn't go through. Surprise, surprise. And I'm like, where's my cigar? And then realized there was an issue with Cigar Biz and they never sent it. That was like last year. And I said, oh, it was not meant to be, whatever.
Yeah.
But now, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Definitely struggling to hold it, man. It's just.
I don't want to put it down, and I'm afraid if I do, it'll drop that ash, and then I really will have to stop because losing the ash at this point is probably not going to be pleasant.
Nah.
But after that little touch up, the burn, it's not perfect, but the burn is continuing on. It's doing well.
Wow.
Flavors right at the end. Pepper.
Earth.
Mulchiness more than earth for me.
More mulchiness.
Yeah, more of a mulchy. A little bit more of that vegetative twist to it.
I think you can have all these flavors unpleasant, but this isn't unpleasant.
No, it's not at all. It's funny. I mean, you listen to people who are into their flavors of whether it's wines or whiskeys or cigars, etc., and they'll be talking about, you'll sniff a cigar. Hey, there's just that, there's a hint of manure. There's this, and it's like that sounds terrible, but actually, no, it's like it's really good.
Oh, wow. Man, you know what? I'm changing my mind. My last third is probably the most complex.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, fuck. It was a momentary thing where it was a little bit harsh, but it's gone back to nice and sweet and beautiful.
Okay.
You have to try those.
I'm going to get some more. But mine certainly hasn't gone back to where it was at its best. But I had a minute there where I thought it was turning on me, and it's certainly come back a little bit from that.
Yeah.
Still definitely not the best that this cigar has to offer. But if I picked up a cigar, I would imagine it would have to be a Maduro to explain sort of the flavor profile. But if this was the opening third on a Maduro, I'd be sitting there going, oh yeah, okay. This is nice. There's nothing wrong with it. But having just come off that middle third, I'm kind of like, oh, I want to go back to that.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is not burning now.
Oh, all right. I'm going to call it. I'm going to put it down.
Same.
I don't have my cigar rest with me, but I don't want to just put it on the table either. I want the option to pick it up again. Great stick.
Great stick.
Yeah, great stick. What am I going to put it on? I'll put it on the bottle opener. Come on. There we go. Well, that was magnificent. The Espada Montecristo Espada. What was the? It was a. No, I'll have to find it again. I'm looking at all the bands. The bands don't have the other. It has a third name, a third word in the name, but that was magnificent, and I'm going to be thinking about that cigar for a very long time, I think.
Yes, sir.
Well, we'll have to find out from Damo how many we have in stock, and probably ration everybody so that no one person can buy them all out. Looking at you, Omar, and make sure that people have a chance to pick up another one, because that's, like I said before, I'd have to go through line by line to look at all the cigars we've smoked in the Cigar Professor, but that has got to be a contender for the best cigar that we've had. Yeah. It's got to be a contender.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I think everyone, I think Cigar Sam called it very early. He goes, he's very specific. He said it was fantastic. It's a very good stick.
Yeah. Incredible cigar is what he said. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Cigar Man Sam, and you did pick it early. That was only 10 minutes after we lit up. That was an hour and a half ago. You called it. Yeah. And absolutely brilliant. And a solid hour and 35, hour and 40, which is what you'd expect.
Yeah.
What you'd expect for something of that size. But to deliver that amount of complexity and keep us interested all the way through. And every time I thought it was going wrong, it always came back. Just brilliant. Alrighty, guys. Well, that is it for this week on the Cigar Professor. If you do want to restock, go back and have a look at the email that we sent you a little while ago. It's got all of what we've got in stock at the moment, and send a message to the Facebook page. That's the best way to get in touch with us. But we'll be back next week, hopefully with Damo. Hopefully he'll get over whatever's giving him a hard time at the moment, and we'll be back with Damo next week for another episode of the Cigar Professor. Thanks, guys.